Welcome to my course for solving absolute value equations. What I want to do is just make a quick video on what exactly are the things that you're going to need to know before starting this course. And the first thing you're going to want to know is, what exactly is the absolute value symbol? What does that represent? And remember, absolute value just pretty much represents the absolute distance. Basically you can look at the absolute distance from, if you're looking on a line graph, the absolute distance from 0. So this is very, very important because when we're solving absolute value equations, we're looking for an unknown. Well, that unknown can produce a positive value inside the absolute symbol or also a negative value. Because remember, absolute value, let's just say the absolute value of 3 is equal to 3. And the absolute value of negative 3 is equal to 3. So when we're dealing with variables and we're trying to find the value of that, we need to know that we're looking for a variable that's going to produce a positive as well as a negative value in there. So therefore, we have a possibility of having two solutions when solving absolute value equations. The next thing you want to make sure you know how to do is solve linear equations. If you don't know how to solve linear equations, make sure you check in my course for solving linear equations because you're going to get lost very quickly. Because absolute value equations, basically what we do is we take an absolute value equation, we isolate the absolute value, and then we create two cases. One case where we could solve for it being positive inside the absolute value, as well as one case where it could be negative value inside the absolute value. So a lot of times these are going to involve multi-step, two-step, and so you're going to want to make sure you know how to solve linear, multi-step, and linear equations using all your operations. And the last thing is to test your solutions, because not always when we're solving absolute value equations are all the solutions going to work out. Even though when we set up our two cases we might be able to solve them, we still got to be able to test them to determine if they're extraneous, if they're actually not a part of not actually a solution. So to do that, to test them, when we determine our values, we plug them back into our original equation and determine if they are still if they make that equation true. And the only way that they're going to make the equation true or not is when we have an absolute. If they make the absolute value equal a negative value, then obviously it will be impossible because the absolute value of any number is always going to be positive. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is just a quick little video on what is it you need to know to be able to solve absolute value equations. Thanks.